Late that afternoon, as the wind gently stirred the trees, I received a message from a local resident. They said that for several days, from an abandoned house at the end of a narrow alley, there had been faint, broken sounds of a dog barking weak, desperate, like a cry for help. At first, people thought it was just a stray wandering in, but the barking continued, tired and hopeless, as if clinging to the edge between life and death. A heavy unease rose in my chest. I had heard many stories of abandoned animals before, yet each time it pierced my heart as if for the first time. I quickly gathered a bottle of water, some dog biscuits, and set out, silently praying, "Please, let me not be too late." The abandoned house stood silently at the end of the road. The wooden gate sagged, moss and mold covering its surface. From inside came the smell of dampness, dust, and decay. I stopped listening. Indeed, from within the darkness, I heard the faint, trembling bark again, hoarse, fragile. My heart pounded as I stepped inside. And then, in a shadowy corner, I froze. There lay a dog, so emaciated its bones jutted out sharply. Once golden fur had fallen out almost entirely, leaving patches of bare, scabby skin. Its body was shriveled, rough, scarred. Its eyes, cloudy and dim, still held the faintest glimmer of hope. It lay collapsed on the cold ground, breathing weakly, unable even to stand. When it saw me, it did not run, did not bark loudly, only shifted slightly, trying to lift its head. Before it dropped again in exhaustion, I knelt down beside it, my throat tightening. "Poor thing," I whispered, as though speaking too loudly might scare it away. I opened the packet of food I had brought, and gently placed a small piece near its mouth. At first, it turned away, eyes vacant, but when the scent reached its nose, instinct stirred. Trembling, it opened its mouth and chewed weakly, as though every bite drained what little strength it had left. I poured water into a small bowl and placed it beside. Slowly, eagerly, it licked, one drop at a time. In that fragile moment, I felt life itself being pulled back from the brink. Without hesitation, I lifted it into my arms. Its body was so light it felt like nothing more than a bundle of bones. It buried its head against my arm, eyes closed, breathing fast, yet perhaps, for the first time, feeling safe. I rushed it to the nearest veterinary clinic. The veterinarian took one look and sighed. "This dog is severely malnourished. Its body weakened from too many days without food. Luckily, it hasn't contracted dangerous infectious diseases yet, but it needs careful, special care." The words pierced my heart, yet I felt grateful there was still hope. They placed it on the examination table. Its ribs stood out starkly, veins visible beneath the thin skin, and yet, in those weary eyes, a faint spark of faith still flickered. The doctor cleaned its wounds, gave fluids, checked thoroughly, then instructed me carefully on feeding and care. I listened to every word, silently vowing, "From now on, you will not suffer again." On the first night at my home, it hardly moved, lying quietly in one corner. I laid a warm bed, placed soft food and water nearby. It ate only a little, chewing slowly as if each motion was an effort. I sat by its side, gently stroking its back, letting it know it was no longer alone. Day by day, small miracles began to unfold. I bathed it in warm water, carefully washing away layers of dirt and scabs. Slowly, new fur sprouted, shimmering faintly under the sunlight. I fed it soft porridge with minced meat, PT rich in nutrition, in small frequent meals to help its frail body recover. And little by little, change came. From trembling steps, it learned to stand, then to walk slowly into the garden. It was not alone here. I had rescued many other dogs before, and they lived together in the small yard. At first, it was timid, curling up in its corner, but the other dogs, curious and gentle, gathered around, wagging their tails in welcome. It looked at them, confused, then hesitantly wagged its own tail. In that moment, I knew it had found its family. As the days passed, its health visibly improved. The skeletal frame filled out, its coat grew thick and golden again. Every morning it followed the pack, tail wagging happily. Every evening, it played and chased balls across the yard, barking joyfully. No longer was it the faint, hoarse cry from that abandoned house. I often sat on the porch, watching the dogs run under the sunlight. Among them, the one I had saved from that ruin stood out not because of weakness, but because of the light in its eyes. Once clouded and weary, now they shone bright, full of life. From an abandoned being left to wither, it had become part of a loving family. Sometimes I shuddered to think, what if I had been late? What if no one had cared enough to tell me about that faint cry? Perhaps it would have perished alone in the shadows, and I would have missed the chance to witness such a miraculous rebirth. Saving one small life, I realized, often means saving our own faith in compassion. Now, whenever I see it frolicking with its companions, my heart softens. Outside, the world may be filled with noise, hardship, and indifference, but here, the joyful bark, the shining eyes of a once forgotten creature, sweep away all my weariness. The dog from the abandoned house now has a home, friends, and love, and I, in rescuing it, found something simple yet priceless. When we reach out to save a small life, we, too, are saved from the indifference of this world.